Hi VC, back again. Oh, I've got caught another cold, and it's just like doing my head in. Just keep seeming to be catching them at the moment. Um, I was watching some videos a bit earlier on, and I caught Brad Vinyl Guy's latest um, video, and he showed one of the records he showed. You know, a great bunch of records. One of the records he showed was by the Fuzztones. So I thought, hang on, why don't I just dig out my small-ish collection of Fuzztones records and just do a little bit of a spiel about them? So I thought, yeah, why not? Um, I didn't buy this at the time. This is a fairly recent purchase, about 2-3 years ago. But I always wanted a Fuzztones T-shirt. I just love this T-shirt. I love the logo. There we go. So yeah, Fuzztones were formed in New York in 1980. I think from a previous band called Tina Peel, I think, or the Tina Peel, I'm not sure. But they, I think, the lead singer Rudy Protrudi, or Rudy Action Protrudi, to give him his full name, and keyboard player Debonair, who I think he was in a relationship with at the time. Well, yeah, he was in a relationship at some point. Decided to form, from the ashes of Tina Peel, to form a garage punk revival band, and they were probably one of the first to do so. I think, I'm not sure. I'm a bit hazy on information from that time. But they played loads of gigs, and they got pretty, they got pretty popular. So in '85, they released a couple of singles before this record. I think which one did they release? It wasn't. Yeah, they released a single called "Bad News Travels Fast." The cover was this logo, and they also recorded a live EP with Screaming Jay Hawkins, which I don't have, which I wish I did have. But then in 1985, they finally got round to recording their first album, which is this one, which is the one that Brad showed. This is Lysergic Emanations. I have shown this as part of my Gimme 10. This is an original English pressing. It was re-released the next year in the States as a gatefold sleeve. But here you've got the original lineup of the Fuzztones. And they were Rudy Protrudi, Michael J, Debonair, Ilan Portnoy, and Ira Elliott. This is such a great record, really great. I mean, it's of course, it's directly inspired by Nuggets and Pebbles and all of those. I mean, especially Nuggets, because that came out in '72 originally. But it's just great. I mean, you've got some of these tracks are just brilliant. You've got Ward 81, 125 is a great track. Done a cover of Journey to Time, Cinderella, She's Wicked, just Highway 69, just really, really good, rocking, fuzzy, great music. There's the inner sleeve, which has more information on each band member. There they are. And there's a pic of the band themselves. I've got to get some glue on this because it is starting to, sometime along the last 25 years since I bought it, the glue's come apart. So this is just a great debut album. So I absolutely love this album. I only found out about it retrospectively when they released a later album. Yeah. Then they released a couple of singles. I don't have the first one. Was it She's Wicked? They released next, but I got the next one, which was Bad News Travels Fast, which is the same lineup. Great pictures, all done by, I think they're all done by Rudy. this one's got As Time's Gone, Green Slime and Strychnine, which is the Sonics track, recommended for mature audiences. Just absolutely brilliant. I absolutely love this. This came out in '86, I think, which was the year after Lysergic Emanations was produced. Just a plain ABC label. I mean, with the Fuzztones, you knew what you were getting. You didn't really need to hear it before you bought anything by them, because you knew what you were getting. Snarly Fuzzpunk. There you go. In '85, they also went on a tour with the Damned during their Phantasmagoria tour. And from a couple of the dates, they put this one together, which was released on Music Maniac, which I think is a European label. A lot of their popularity stems from Europe. They toured there loads and loads, and I think they still go there pretty often. When they've got a lineup together, they seem to regularly break up, and then Rudy puts together another lineup. So there you can see he's with with members of the Damned in various pictures. I mean, that looks like Monroe there from Hanoi. I'm not sure it is though. But really great live album. Lots of, you got things like Cellar Dweller, which is a great track. I remember them playing that when I saw them live. Love at Psychedelic Velocity, which is another cover. 7 and 7 Years, obviously the love track. Got to Get Some, Journey to Time. Human Fly they've done a version of Psychotic Reaction as well. And I'm Loose, which is the Stooges. Just really great. And for some reason they had a mailing address. One was in Beverly Hills and the other one was in Grangemouth in Stirlingshire, in Scotland for some reason. I never could work that out. But brilliant release. Also on Music Maniac, and I think this was released about '89, was this one, which is The Creatures That Time Forgot. Now this is a compilation of various demos, B-sides, interviews. And it's a really nice release to have. It just rounds up a lot of their tracks. I mean, I've probably got different versions of a lot of them. I mean, it's got Ward 81, it's got a version of The Witch, Green Slime, Action Woman, Brand New Man, it's got She's Wicked, with a different spelling. What's that? 99th Floor. Demo of that. So there we go. That's a great album to have. I really like. And again, I just think their covers are absolutely brilliant. Just love their early covers. Then they released 9 months later. Not 9 months later, but they released a song, the EP, 9 months later on Music Maniac. This was later that year, 1989. And it's got 9 months later, which is the story of Rudy finding out his girlfriend was actually pregnant, and she turned up with son in tow, and his reaction, we can imagine, you can imagine what his reaction was. Let's say he wasn't Father of the Year. Anyway, it's got Girl You Captivated Me on it, Cheyenne Rider, Greatest Lover in the World. It's just great. More great artwork. I just love the artwork of this stuff. And then, after Lysergic Emanations was released, the band basically just split up and just completely dissolved. I think Rudy Petrudi slept with one of the guitarists. I think the guitarist's girlfriends, and Keith Debonair was jealous, and they all just went their separate ways. So, and I've got to look at them because I can never pronounce half of their names. So in 1987, I think, Rudy met Mad Mike Chikai, I think that's how you pronounce it, in New York, and they couldn't put a lineup back together, so they went to LA, where they managed to find the members who subsequently became the rebirth of the Fuzztones. And the first thing that got put out was I think this got put out first, was this one, which is Hurt and Hold. This actually was released on Situation 2, which is which was Beggars Banquet's sort of offshoot label for lesser known bands that they used to put out. So here you've got the lineup. So there's Rudy, Mad Mike Chikai, John Carlucci, who played bass, Jason Saville, who played, he was a nutcase on the Vox organ, and Jordan Tarlow, who was guitars. And this is a lineup that I really know well. I think I saw them probably at least 3 or 4 times at various dives around North London, and I just remember every show was brilliant. I might even have seen the Hypnotic Support once. I'm not sure about that one though. Can't remember. But I absolutely loved them at this point. This is when I first heard them. I think Hurt and Hold got played on the old chart show. I think it was on the Indie Countdown. I thought, whoa, yeah. Because at this point I was listening to, trying to get as many of the Nuggets punk compilations that Rhino put out during the late 80s. And there was an actual band playing this sort of stuff, so I was overjoyed, and the fact that they actually made it to London was brilliant. So, overjoyed at this. So this one's got Hurt and Hold, which is absolute classic fuzz punk. Then it's got a version of Jack the Ripper, which is Screaming Lord Sutch song, and I Can't Control Myself, which I think is a Trogs, isn't it? I'm sure somebody will put a comment down there if I'm wrong. Produced by Shel Talmy, who obviously famous for his work with The Who and the Kinks early stuff. Superb. And then after that came out their debut, well, the debut of this lineup anyway, the second proper album. They wrote all the songs on this. This is In Heat. And this was released in 1989. Fabulous back cover. Cave Dwellers. Of course they had that on it. And was it? Yeah, and there we go. Fuzztones. So, brilliant album. Absolutely brilliant. So, of course, it had 9 Months Later on it. It had Hurt on Hold, Shine Rider, Everything You Got, Black Box, Shaman U, Track In Heat, Charlotte's Remains, which is great. It came in the mail. Mutal's New Jane, Heathen Set. Just absolutely great from start to finish. You just get one pace. It's brilliant. Love it. And then they re-released a version of 9 Months Later, well, the album version. Dubious cover there. What can you say about that? So this one, 9 Months Later, released again on Situation 2. It's got a cover of my favourite garage punk song, You Must Be a Witch. I just think that is just genius. And then it's got a cover of the Stooges, Down in the Street, which I think, has that got a version in it? Or is Just checking something. No, it is that one. So this has got, and there he is, So on down on the street, you've got, I don't know if you can see that. Well, that's Ian Astbury there, because he sings, he basically does vocals on the version of Down on the Street on this EP. He's the reason they actually got signed to Situation 2. At the time, the Cult were with Beggars, and Astbury was hanging about in LA, and he just fell in love with them. So he took tapes back, or he got somebody to see him, and got them to sign to Situation 2. So there we go. And this is, and obviously Astbury, I'm just saying the Cult. You'll find out in another video how much I was into the Cult. But to have, I'm just so glad that I didn't know when I first got into the Fuzztones, but I'm just so glad that because this is where I found out about him, from this lineup. So I'm so glad that he brought them over. And then the final release I got, I don't know what happened. There's another album released by this lineup called Braindrops that I never got. I just never saw it. I don't know why. And that was released on Music Maniac. They got dropped. But the last release on Situation 2 was this one, which is the Action EP. And this one's got I Never Knew, My Nothing, Yeah Babe, and the main track, Actions Speak Louder Than Words. And it's just absolutely fantastic, start to finish. I don't think it's got oh yeah, has it got oh yeah, forgot about this. So there we go, there's the label of that one. Quite a nice little label with the information on that side. So, there we go. They did carry on after this, releasing the Braindrops album, as I said. Then they released a really poorly produced, don't know what they were doing, Halloween themed album, which I got on CD, and I don't know, that was kind of it for me with the Fuzztones, to be honest. Record wise, they've released stuff and they reform every so often, and I'm going to have to try and catch them when they play live sometime, because it'll just be a revamping of my sort of when I was about 20, no, when I was exactly 20 and just so into them. Right, so there we go, a brief history of the Fuzztones. Hope you enjoyed it, hope you found out something, hope it's inspired you to go and listen to some garage rock, because you really should do if you haven't. Okay, well thanks very much VC, and I'll see you all again. Bye VC.